Hello everybody, welcome to Drawing with Waffles. Pro Marker has recently rebranded their sets as Winsor & Newton, and they were kind enough to send me 2 sets of markers and also some paper to try out. And I was a big fan of their old markers, which were the Letraset brand. I owned the Pro markers in the grays, and I actually used them all up and had to buy them again because I loved them so much. And if you've watched some of my sketchbook videos, you know that I really liked using all the different gray tones to draw different Harry Potter sketches because they worked really well for the Harry Potter uniforms. But now I actually have some colors. I have the skin tone set, the mid-tone set, and then the A4 paper. There's 50 sheets in there. I really, just off the bat, love these colors. Look how vibrant they are. Like, I hope that they look like that on the paper. That would be something I'd be very interested to know. So in the mid-tone set, you get 6 colors. There's gold, lipstick red, carmine, sky blue, lime green, and turquoise. And then in the skin color set, you get almond, dusky pink, blush, praline, saddle brown, and burnt sienna. And the paper that I'm trying out is the A4 21 centimeters by 29.7 centimeter. It's 29 pound, which is pretty thin for a piece of paper, but it says it's bleed proof and high quality. So let's test it, shall we? So I've got this sketched out. I'm about to try out the markers. I made a bunch of test swatches just so I'd know what the colors actually look like. One thing I did notice, here if I grab this, is the lightest skin tone is almost barely noticeable, so that's for like very pale people like me. So I can use that if I want to draw myself. I was hoping, at least when I was thinking of it, when I was drawing the sketch, well, sketching the sketch, I wanted her to have very dark skin, and there isn't really a whole lot of choices for that. There are a lot of like almost completely white colors. I can see the difference. I don't know if you can on the camera, but it definitely gets darker as it goes along. But your choices, once you get pretty dark, aren't very, like, these two don't go very well together. They're just different types of brown, basically. They aren't very skin tony. I like the darkest one. This one's a little too red for my liking. I might use it for hair or something. But I want her to have pretty dark skin, so we'll see how this goes using these colors. I think I'm gonna start with the 3rd darkest and just coat her whole skin area because, I don't know. I feel like the other 2 are just too light for what I want to go with, but I could definitely use those for other things, like drawing me. I wish this cap fit over here, because I'm one of those people that loses caps. So if this had just attached, I'd be very happy, but it doesn't. But I mean, that's not a deal breaker at all. I like the squeaky sound. Very squeaky. It's very streaky. All right, I redrew it. Let's try this again. Lesson learned, don't use the wrong side of the paper. Hopefully I did use the right side of the paper this time. I'm not entirely positive because I don't remember flipping it, but guess we're gonna find out. Back to the 3rd darkest. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Let's try a smaller spot this time. Ah, that's better. Now I feel like it's too dark. I'm gonna go lighter. That's too light. I have noticed that it starts really gray when you first put down the lighter colors, and then it slowly like builds back to the color that you think it's gonna be, which is very interesting and kind of scary when you start it out. But I guess you just sort of have to trust yourself and use the right side of the paper. Her hair still, I mean her skin. Her skin still isn't as dark as I wanted it to, but again, like I said earlier, when you're putting down the colors, they're much darker when you first start, so you have to really keep that in mind. Her skin ended up being a lot more olive than I wanted. I wanted it to be much more of a brown, chocolatey color, but it's much more olive. But it's still pretty. I really like the way it looks. It might not have been what I was going for, but it turned out pretty well, and the shading worked out pretty well too. Even though I had very limited colors, so I think that looks pretty cute. hey, this doesn't look too bad. I mean, for a first go at it. The markers look really cool. I think what you have to really keep in mind is it starts really dark or really gray and it lightens up to the colors. So make sure you use some swatches just to figure out how well, I mean, what the colors will really look like. And make sure you do the swatches like 10 minutes before you're gonna start drawing, I think is a good plan. Yeah, I like the way it turned out for my very first marker illustration. I'm used to using grays, so I was very new to like trying to use colors and mix them traditionally, especially with watercolors as well, if you've seen any of those illustrations I've made. So traditional art's a pretty new adventure for me. I definitely want to try more in the future, and I'm probably going to get some more markers so I have some more variations in color for future. I think I probably will get the Winsor & Newton ones, only because I've actually been trying to get my hands on some Copic markers for probably years now. Every time I decide to buy them, I put them into my, cart online, and then I change my mind last minute because I'm like, too much money. And then recently, when I finally decided that I was actually gonna get those markers, they're sold out everywhere and I can't find them. So I think I'll probably just start a collection of Winsor & Newton since they're here and they're available to me. I really do like them. It's something I definitely need to get used to. They're a little bit streaky. You have to make sure you fill in those spots pretty fast, like your solid colors, which I've read about before, so that's important. The colors I have are a little bit too different for shading, but I think I managed pretty well. And you can actually use the same marker, fill in your space and then shade it a little bit with the same marker, which works pretty well. I think if you keep doing that, you'll eventually fill it up. You get some nice, difference in shading, which works pretty well. Yeah, I really like this, and I definitely recommend them. They're much cheaper than Copic markers, so if you're new to markers and want to start learning how to do it like I do, I think Winsor & Newton's brush markers are a very good alternative. And the Pro markers as well, they just don't have the brush on the tip. I'm a big fan of the brush. I've never had the brush markers before, and I really like them. So I think I'm going to probably try and get my hands on the rest of the brush marker set, and I'll definitely have some more videos in the future. Oh, and back to the paper, make sure when you pull the sheet out, you don't just forget which side you had it on. You need to color on one of the sides. I don't know when it happened, flipped the paper, and then that's when I started sketching, because that's why you'll get these terrible streakies, if that'll focus. Look how streaky that is. That's just not good, okay? Definitely want to make sure you use the right side of the paper, which ends up being, it's the top of the paper. When you first open it, you want to use the top of the paper. Make sure you don't, end up getting lost and flipping it over at some point without noticing. So I think what you want to do is keep it in the pad for as long as possible before you know you're about to sketch or color, and then you can just pull it out and just slide it over to where the surface you're going to be drawing on. That way you don't have any mistakes of flipping it over. It would be cool if they were like marked in some way, but I understand that would probably get in the way of some illustrations. Maybe a good idea when you first pull it out is just take just one marker and just do a little dot on the right side so that you remember which side. It's I don't even really feel a difference, so that isn't gonna help me. But just keep that in mind and you can get some pretty good results if you use the right side of the paper. If I got to redo this, I probably wouldn't add a background, but it's all right, it's all in the idea of experimenting, and I definitely want to use these markers in the future, so hopefully I'll have some videos for you. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week. Bye!